Good morning, everyone. Today I want to talk to you about dreaming away your life, which is what most people do. Most people spend a large percentage of their time, of their waking time and sleeping time, dreaming away. Daydreams, pipe dreams, brooding, reminiscing, worrying, reliving the past, planning, thinking of the next thing to reach for. Eating lunch, and while eating lunch, thinking about what they're going to have for dinner. You see what I mean? Eating dinner and thinking about what they're going to buy at the store in the morning, and so on. So we spend our life dreaming away. And whenever any little pressure comes along, until you learn the secret of not responding and reacting to pressure, any little pressure that comes along, which you make it a pressure by your reaction to it. See, if you didn't react to it, it wouldn't be a pressure. But any little pressure that comes along grabs your attention and throws you into a little bit of a trance. And then it somehow gets inside. And from the inside, then, it becomes a pressure on the inside. And we have a habit of succumbing to outside pressure, resenting it, struggling with it, or most likely giving in to it, going along with it. But then it gets inside, and then it pressures us from the inside with a memory, and before long the conditioned response. I'll just make up a little example. You're walking along and you encounter someone and they say, "Hey, you look like you're in bad shape." "Oh, how's that?" "Well, your pants are all wrinkled and your shoes are all dirty." "Oh, well, I just kind of relaxing, kind of being casual." And then you talk a little bit, then you part, but it sticks in your mind. And then you start thinking about it. Why'd they say that? How do I look? Then you look at yourself in the mirror. Then you keep thinking about it, and you think, "I've got to get clothes." And you think, "Well, I'll go to the store." And then you go to the store, and then you buy clothes, and it goes on and on and on. You find yourself investing a huge amount of time, and then you're at the store, and you can't decide what to get. And then you resent because the prices are all high. You resent the prices, and they don't have your size. They don't have your size. But then you buy the wrong size because you think, "Well, maybe I'll lose some weight. I'm going to lose some weight." So you buy a size that's too small. And then later on, you don't lose weight, so you can't wear them, and you resent that. And it all began with just an offhand remark made by someone that got inside and started to pressure you from inside, you see? So we develop a habit of falling into daydreams, and our daydreams seem restful to us because it's an escape from reality. See, in reality, you're reactive. In reality, you fail. In reality, you're impatient. In reality, you say the wrong thing and do the wrong thing and make the wrong move. And even if you make what you think is the right move, it still turns out to be wrong somehow. And in reality, you have to see your own inadequacy, your own helplessness, your own failure, your own lack of wisdom and lack of love, and you don't want to see it. So you escape into daydreams, which seem restful. And so you can hide from reality. See, you're hiding from God's light. See, in reality, if you were to become fully aware, see, if you were to wake up, see, here's another example. You've probably seen demonstrations of hypnosis on stage where a person is hypnotized and then they do something goofy at the suggestion of the hypnotist, and then when they wake up, sometimes they don't remember what they did. They do not remember what they did. And then sometimes you point out to them that they did that and they don't believe it. Or you point out to them that they did it and they make an excuse or rationalize it in some way. And sometimes, if you get them to do something that's really goofy or not right, they don't even want to wake up. They'll pretend to be awake, but they're not really awake because they don't want to see in the harsh light of reality the truth about the fact that they're not even living their own life, that they're not in control of their life, and they're doing what someone else told them to do. They don't want to see it. So we don't want to see it. And so we put ourselves into a hypnotic trance all the time. So you walk around and something during the day comes back to you, and now you're thinking about it. And then as you're thinking about it, you're kind of in your mind milling over it. And while you're doing that, you jam your finger in the door because you're not totally there. You're unaware, or you stumble on something because you were so lost in your thoughts. And that's the way most of our lives are. We're lost in our daydreams. So you have to come back to reality. I'm just going to keep this little audio quite simple. I'm just going to stay with the examples that I give you. You can provide your own examples in your life where you weren't totally aware and made mistakes and said the wrong thing and did the wrong thing and bought the wrong thing. And you can think of examples where somebody said something to you and you resented it, and then you went out to prove that they were wrong. So you have to learn to not react. You have to go through life without reacting to anything is eventually the way you must be. You must learn how to go through life in as observer, watching, standing back, standing beyond thought. Instead of being lost in thought, mentally standing beyond thought and watching thought. See, you somehow think that, first of all, you think that escaping into your thoughts and your daydreams is a good idea, but it's not. It's a bad idea. And eventually you see that. And the second thing is that you think that all your thoughts are your own thoughts, but they're not. See, you're actually being deceived. You think that the thoughts in your mind are your thoughts, but they're not your thoughts. They come from another dimension, actually a dark dimension, that's very good at fooling and deceiving and tricking. And it's so subtle, it's so very subtle, that unless you're very aware, you won't catch it. And the only way you can be aware is by waking up. You have to wake up. Then, when you wake up, you can regain control of your own life again, instead of being lost in a daydream. Fed suggestions and ideas and notions, see, are fed to you. When you're in your daydream state, then you're vulnerable to outside suggestions. Things get in. But can you see also that when you're not aware, now look, let's go back to the example that I gave you of where you're walking down the street and someone says, well, you don't look like you're in very good shape. And you say, why not? And they say, because your pants are wrinkled and your shoes are dirty. Let's go back to that example. Remember, previously we said how you started to think about it and resented it, and then you went to the store and bought the wrong size and spent a bunch of money and spent a whole bunch of time thinking about what they had said because it stuck in your craw. I want you to see that the reason why it got to you, well, because first of all, you have an ego and you want to look good and be well thought of, and you resent people not thinking well of you. But there's another reason why it's things like that. Why little things get to you. Little things get into your mind that shouldn't even be there. And I'm not necessarily talking about a remark that someone makes. It can be commercials, music, just something you read, something you saw. Things on the outside get on the inside and form memories that float around in your mind and come back to haunt you. And the reason for that is because you're already in a hypnotic trance. You were already walking around with a lower state of awareness. When that guy came up to you and said your pants are wrinkled and your shoes are dirty, you were already submerged in thought at the time, so you weren't totally aware. So then the next thing that comes along, you're in a vulnerable state where it gets to you. But now, suppose that instead of being lost in a daydream as you're walking along thinking about work and what you're going to do and what she said and what he said and all that stuff. Suppose instead that you're very aware. You're walking along. You began today with a little meditation, and now you're very aware. And you notice your hands. As you're walking along, your hands are a little bit warm and tingly. And you're not lost in thoughts. And you encounter this person and you say, hello, and he says, how you doing? Fine, and so on. So you converse, but you're not lost in anything. And not only that, but you're watching from beyond thoughts. Your body is in the moment, but your soul is not even in the moment. It's beyond time. And so things don't sneak up on you. And then if your friend says something, well, your pants are wrinkled, then you're not in a vulnerable state. And it kind of goes in one ear and out the other. And you say, okay, and you look, and maybe your pants are wrinkled and maybe they're not. And maybe your shoes are dirty and maybe they're not. But it doesn't affect you. It doesn't bother you. It doesn't get to you. And then, if it turns out that, well, my pants are wrinkled, so then you go and you have them pressed nicely. Or if they are wrinkled, but who cares, then you don't worry about it. If your shoes are dirty, you just clean them off. And if you're doing some kind of garden work and your shoes are dirty, then don't worry about it. You see what I mean? But it doesn't get to you. Things go in one ear and out the other, and only things that are of value. It's the only thing that you take light note of, and otherwise it doesn't get in. Are you with me? So I want you to get the little meditation and see if it'll work for you. Learn to become aware so you're not lost. You're not lost. You don't want to be lost in thoughts. See, the person wandering down the street lost in thoughts, that's the person that can be easily pickpocketed, or they can easily take your iPhone. But if you're very aware, then somehow they sense that you're aware and they leave you alone, you see? So I'm going to end with that. A nice little audio. I kept it very, 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 very simple.